What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Simple Songwriting. It's me, your host, Saint Aria, also known as Cameron. We are talking about Evanescence today. So they've got a new song that just came out a few weeks ago, or really, I guess about a month ago. It's called "Who Will You Follow." So yeah, it's produced by the same guys who produced "End of You," which was the big hit last year from Amy Lee, Poppy, and Courtney LaPlante. Um, and we're gonna be going through it. If you're new to the show, we go through the song in chronological order and just talk about every aspect of the song. Brand new to the show is my fancy little song tracker here, so we can actually keep track of which section we're on. Look at that! Wow, so clean and impressive. Oh my god. Anyway, so yeah, a little bit of background just to give. I like to talk about maybe my background with the artist, and just a little bit of general information. So this is apparently the first. Well, it's the second single for Evanescence's upcoming album Sanctuary. The first single, Afterlife, was released last year as part of like the Netflix Devil May Cry series, which I haven't seen for no particular reason. I actually kind of like those Netflix animes. They're usually pretty good. Like the Castlevania one was pretty solid, but I think that came out like almost a decade ago now. So who knows how the quality is at this point. But yeah, so you can see I've got the album cover here for Sanctuary on the thing, on the stream, and so yeah. Overall, though, everyone knows Evanescence. I mean, we all grew up with wake me up inside, I can't wake up." Like we all know that one. But I remember like back when I was in school, Amy Lee was she was like the icon. She was like the at the tip of the spear for like the goth emo girl fashion thing, all the corsets and the stockings and the, eyeliner and all that. Like she basically set the trend for women's fashion in like the goth emo world for like, I mean, a generation essentially. And she's been kind of making a comeback. I mean, it's been in tandem with rock and metal in general, but yeah, I think especially last year, it was like that was a big comeback year for her being on that song with Poppy and Courtney, who are two of the biggest metal artists right now. In my opinion, that song was just a little bit overrated. It was kind of, but I actually have been wanting to do an episode on that song because it did win like Song of the Year and all that. So I'll save what I have to say about that song for a separate episode. But regardless of what I think, because ultimately that's just going to be what I think, the song did pretty well commercially. I think it hit, well, it did okay. End of You did okay. It got like 35 million streams when I checked it earlier this week. And honestly, after a year, for all the hype that it got, I was actually a little underwhelmed by that. So I don't know. Make of that what you will. But regardless, it was still a pretty big hit, biggest hit that Amy's had in a while. So she is back with the same producers. What are their names? Zach Cervini and Jordan Fish. Zach Cervini is also the co-writer on this song. So this song was basically just written by Zach and Amy. So yeah, aside from that, yeah, the first single, Afterlife, I listened to that one and I was kind of going back and forth on which one I wanted to cover. Afterlife was cool. It had some cool elements to it. But I decided on this one because this felt a little more like classic Evanescence, at least in terms of the elements that are there. Whether it lives up to classic Evanescence, like, and I'm talking specifically about Fallen. I mean, that's kind of the big album. I know that there were some hits on the second album. What was it? Open the Door, I think it was called. But Fallen is really like, that's typically what most people think of when they think of Evanescence. And for good reason. That album's really good. I listened through it all the way through for the first time in a long, long time this week as I was preparing for the episode. And it's like, yeah, this is a banger album. There's so many cool moments on it. I forgot about Haunted. That song Haunted, that was a really good song. Very dark. But yeah, so we're gonna see, how does this new song kind of stack up, because honestly the vibe I got was that Afterlife was like a one-off song, and then they said, you know, they made Afterlife and then they made End of You, and they were like, okay, let's make a full album, like we're working well together. I think we could work on a new Evanescence release that could have some commercial success, you know. So they're doing that. And so to me, this really does feel like the true first single for the album, especially considering that Afterlife came out last year. And it wasn't even like late last year, I don't think. Hold on, let me take a look real quick. Just to make sure it was released, yeah, 2025. I know it was released in 2025. Yeah, so it was released March 28th of 2025. Which honestly, when you think about it, like when you think about the Netflix show, when did the Netflix show come out? Yeah, the first season premiered April 3rd. So when you think about the way that the show and the songwriters might have collaborated on that, it's like, was it really? They probably had that song done way before March 2025. They just needed to time it with Netflix's release. Like I basically would have just given it to Netflix to release whenever the show was ready to go. All of this is to say this song, Who Will You Follow, to me feels like the real first single for the album. And the album does have Afterlife on it, but I think Afterlife was most likely a separate project, a separate song, and they decided to add it because it fit it was in the same vein and the same style of music that they were making at that time, which would eventually become this album. So without further ado, let's dig in. Let's get started at the beginning.
What have you done to me? You trained the life out of me till I don't know myself. When all your faith in reality fades away,
Who will you follow? All right, so we immediately start off with vocals. There is like a very quick, super quick volume swell. I don't even know if OBS will pick it up, but listen very closely in 3, 2, 1. You hear that? Like little quick volume swell, but yeah, vocals come in essentially immediately. And there's piano. And so as we know, or if you don't know, Amy Lee is a very proficient piano player. I think she did most of the piano on Fallen, and the piano on Fallen is nuts. It's crazy. So yeah, there's a nice little piano part playing here, and Amy is singing. She sounds great. It is crazy to think about, like, Fallen came out it came out in 2003, so 23 years ago, and she sounds like you wouldn't think it if you heard her voice. She sounds super youthful, really good. So like, good on her for taking care of her voice all these years. So yeah, but that's really about it musically. I think there's some slight atmospheric effects going on in the background if you listen real close.
what have you done to me? You trained the life out.
You hear that? There is some intense reverb on her voice, but there's just those like ambient noises, which is fine. It sets the scene a little bit. So let's talk about what she's singing, because we actually start with the chorus. So she says, "What have you done to me? You drained the life out of me till I don't know myself. When all your faith in reality fades away, who will you follow?" So let's take it line by line, because that is what we do on this show. We go slow. So that first line's pretty cool. What have you done to me? It's kind of one of those like like a classic Evanescence line, very dramatic, very serious, it's almost like overly dramatic. It's like too dramatic. And that's part of I think the appeal. If you go back and listen to old Evanescence, it's like, it is just pure like angsty teenager shit, you know? And so, yeah, I think this first line is right in line with that. And it gets you to start asking questions like, what has been, she's saying, what have you done to me? The first question you ask is, well, who is she talking to? Second question is, well, what has been done to her? and that is pretty cool. It's a pretty cool little opener. Yeah.
What have you done to me?
And she sings it with like that really like what is that? Like 1 HP voice, you know, what have you done to me? Like she's already broken, you know? Yeah, she is a great singer. Great singer. So she then says, "You drain the life out of me till I don't know myself." So this is all right. Okay, so we're kind of expanding on that. So whoever or whatever she's talking about has drained her to such a point where she doesn't even know her own thoughts. She doesn't even know who she is or what she thinks anymore. So yeah, it's pretty good. I will say, and I'm gonna make this comment. I think that lyrics about like I don't know myself, who am I? You know, I can't trust myself. And that was very huge. Those lyrics were huge in like the early 2000s, and I think that general style is kind of making a comeback right now. It doesn't quite have the same appeal when you're over 40. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Like I think it works when you're in your 20s, teens and 20s, maybe even early 30s, but you get to like over 40 and talking about like I don't know myself. It's like, damn, you still haven't figured that shit out. Like the fuck. Yeah, just I think that this is gonna be a little bit of a thing throughout this song, is that, you know, we love Fallen, love Evanescence, but it has been 23 years, and so you would expect some growth and maturity. Unfortunately, I don't know if we got that on this song, but I'm not just gonna say that and not explain it. I'm gonna kind of dive into that as we get deeper into the song. So let's keep going. The third line is, "When all your faith in reality fades away," and she phrases it as a question, like, when all of your faith in reality fades away, who will you follow? So that first part, that is kind of the conflict, right? Like when you don't. So okay, actually, let's just pause, because this is when I first was listening to the song. This was the first moment of the song where I was like, huh? Because it doesn't seem to really match the first two lines. So to me, the first two lines, the obvious implication and what you would expect is like, this is a relationship, you know? What have you done to me? You drain the life out of me till I don't know myself. Like this is like very typical relationship lyrics. But then she says, when all your faith in reality fades away. And when you hear that, you might think, okay, this could be like a common topic is like narcissistic abuse, when you have a liar who's telling you things and making you question yourself or gaslighting you. It's like, okay, that's a real thing. Maybe that's the angle she's going with. But then she says, who will you follow? And that's where and like, this is the chorus. So it is important for us to break this down and like be able to talk about it. Cause I was like, what is she talking about here? So when she says, what have you done to me? Who is the you? Because when you say like, who will you follow? Let me phrase it like this. If you're in like a toxic relationship, well, this was my first interpretation, was that this was like a toxic relationship, or this is some type of relationship. And when you are in a toxic relationship and you have that thought to yourself, like, you know, I don't know what to believe anymore. The first question isn't typically, who do I follow now? It's typically something more along the lines of like, this person is bad, or I need to stand on my own. I need to learn to like form my own thoughts. It's typically the opposite end, right? Like you don't, when someone abuses you in this way, the response is almost always to learn to stand on your own 2 feet. It's like self-empowerment, as opposed to, I need to follow someone else. So when I heard this, I was very confused. I was like, what is she talking about? And then the words that she uses as well, when all your faith, it's like, okay, when all your faith in reality, it's like, that seems to me to imply a little bit more than just, you know, someone's lying to me or someone's gaslighting me about myself or my emotions or something. It's like, I don't believe in reality itself anymore. I was like, okay, so I almost immediately, again, I'm kind of walking y'all through what I was thinking when I first heard this song. I was like, okay, this probably isn't about relationships. So my next interpretation was, is this about God? Because she seems, I mean, when you're talking about like all of reality and then using the word faith and then follow, like who will you follow? I was like, okay, is this like, has she lost her faith in God or something? I mean, because she has talked about, I mean, what's the song? Tourniquet, where it's a very religious song, or she brings up religious themes often in the older music. And so it's like, okay, maybe this song is about losing your faith. And that was kind of what I went with. I'm going to talk about the actual theme later because I did look it up and I think it's important to talk about, but let's get through the first verse and then I'll come back to that. But just know, like, my initial reaction to this chorus was kind of curious. Like, I don't know what she's talking about. I don't quite understand. It doesn't seem like it's a relationship, but even then, like, if it is religion, those first two lines seem a little strange. Like, what have you done to me? It's like, I understand, like, some people have that experience with religion, but it seems very like, I know this is Evanescence and I know I was just complimenting the dramaticism, but it does seem a little like melodramatic for like religion. What have you done to me? Like, that seems strange. So my whole point here is this chorus, while she sings it brilliantly, and the lyrics are pretty solid in some ways. In other ways, they kind of left me confused, and I wasn't quite sure what this song was even about based on this. So let's come back to it. Let's keep going forward with the song, and then we'll come back to this, and we'll get there, okay? Because I do want to, like, I think this is going to be very important, this chorus and the lyrics, but we'll come back to it. Cool. So let's go to the next section. All right. So we got this big riff that slams in. And I'm just going to be honest, like, as a guitarist, to me, this is like a pretty bland riff. This is pretty mediocre stuff. It's first off, the riff itself, it's nothing that we haven't heard before. It's very standard. Now, to be fair, I don't think people are like going to Evanescence for the excellent guitar work, but like, it's still, it feels very stock. Like, okay, we need a heavy riff. What's a heavy riff? It's like, okay, fine. On top of that, it's doing one of my least favorite things in modern metal, which is the thing where the cymbal stays completely consistent, the cymbal and the snare stay consistent, and then the kick just follows the guitar exactly. So listen for the kick. It's doing the exact same thing as the guitar. I really hate this. It's a super lazy trope that we do in modern metal. And honestly, it means that the drums are almost certainly not actual real drums. Like they were almost certainly done in MIDI with fake drums. And they were probably written by a guitarist because that's just how this shit goes. So that's how it's done nowadays. So yeah, and just to be clear, like why this is a complaint, the drums, in fact, are not supposed to just follow the guitar verbatim. The drums actually are their own instrument, and you can set a beat that is very different from the guitars. I did a whole video on this or a whole segment on this in my breakdown of Lost by Bring Me the Horizon. So go watch that if you want me to explain. Go to the breakdown in the section of Lost by Bring Me the Horizon, and you'll see what I'm talking about. This is like one of the laziest things that modern metal producers do, is they just make the kick drum follow the guitar and the cymbals and the snare are consistent the whole time. It's boring, and honestly, I think it's just a little, it's very dismissive of the potential that drummers can bring to a song. Like drummers spend their whole lives focusing on rhythms and like creating interesting and unique rhythms, and to just delegate them to following the guitar exactly, it's disappointing. It's just a little disappointing. So yeah, overall, this section, I think there's some background synth too. Yeah, there's because there's synth all over this whole song. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm going to talk about this in much more depth later, but I think a lot of the modern metal production is very lazy and it skews towards this very like cheap outs, you know? And that's one of the reasons I brought up that little volume swell at the very beginning of the song. Like we can't even just start the song without some random cheap sound effect, you know? And specifically I'm talking about this little thing here. Like we have to have that. We can't just have her start singing, you know? That'd be too crazy, right? So I'll talk about that later, but I already this riff started playing and I was just like, all right, yeah, whatever. Like my brain just like shut off. Cool. So then we get into the first verse. Let's let that play out. All right. So first off, the transition from the heavy riff into the verse to me was not great. I felt like it was super unnatural. I think the electronic drums and the synths, not the simps, the synths and the electronic drums. Oh man, I just forgot that word is like banned on YouTube. Or no, it's Twitch. Okay, I'm good. Sorry. All right, so the synths and electronic drums to me do not come in very naturally. They feel very like, I don't know, like just slapped on. Like, all right, we're doing the synths now. Just put that there. I don't know that transition again. So that heavy riff plays, and then it's pretty bland, not really feeling it. And then those synths come in and I'm just like, okay, we're doing this. And the thing that gets me is that there isn't even like a discernible, interesting aspect to the synth. It's like, there's like a little bell synth in the background, like going like, something like that. Here, take a listen. It's the higher pitched synth. It's a dun. Yeah, that's like the only thing, which is not even a melody. It's like so basic. Yeah, it's just, so there's nothing going on there really. That's super bland. But then there's just like this and there's a ton of mid-range happening. Like it's just it's a very like bubbly full sound, which I'll talk about more in a bit. But then even the drums, even like the electronic drums, which like electronic drums are one of the coolest things you can throw on a song. I mean, that's basically the foundation for like Linkin Park and early Evanescence, like having real drums mixed in with synths, piano, electronic drums, all of that. And like getting a full spectrum of sounds. But to me, these electronic drums, like go back and listen to the old electronic drums off of Fallen. They're so much more engaging, so much more interesting. To me, these are very stock. They just feel cheap and bland. There's not really a beat to them. Like listen. It's just like, all right. It's not very engaging. And I think the reason, like, I don't think any one of these elements is necessarily bad on its own, but it's the combination of them that to me, they just, there's no room to breathe in this section. It sounds super overloaded. And there's nothing musically to even latch on to. Like, there's nothing interesting about the drums that's like, ooh, that's like a really cool little drum part happening. Or, oh, that's a really cool synth, or that's a really cool piano. You know, I mean, just for reference, so you guys don't think I'm full of shit. Like, let me just play. Let me just find like a random section here, like this song. Do you feel how like, do you notice how like much energy is in that, and how like that's just like beautiful for your ears? So you have this piano, the drums aren't so overwhelming. There's plenty of room for them to breathe, so you can really hear all of those snare hits. And then there's strings that come in on the right ear too, which I think there's a acoustic guitar playing there as well. Listen. And then she can bring in those harmonies, and it just sounds so beautiful. Listen to that again. Hear those strings? Harmony's super clear. Like, see, hear how like pleasant that is, and how because there's more space, it actually can bring you into the song better. Like you feel like you're really in it. Now compare that to this. Not that. Hold on. This.
What have you done to way out? Keep waking in the same fever dream.
Do you feel how it like immediately it just sounds like there's this bubble or like this film in between you and the song? They're just like just in the way. And you can say, oh, well, it's a different section. No, it doesn't matter. Like, you can do this with a faster section too. You can have breathing room and space in your mix. I'm going to complain about this a lot, but yeah, I think overall, when I was listening through this song, I was like, the heavy guitar sound with the boring kick following the riff was immediately to me like a red flag. And I was like, oh, geez, like, here we go. We're doing this again. And then this is where, like, at least from the musical perspective, I immediately knew we had a problem. Like, this sounds very cheap, very basic, nothing to latch onto. And this is the type of thing where we're just going to overwhelm you with sounds. We're going to throw everything at the wall and just expect you to sort of like lap it up. Like, wow, oh my gosh, it's Amy Lee. When in reality, this doesn't hold even the slightest candle to any of the songs on Imaginary or on Fallen. And I was just playing Imaginary for reference, and yeah, it's just not even close. Yeah, it just sounds very, very cheap, very basic, and that's kind of what we get for this verse. So let's talk about the lyrics then, because maybe the lyrics will improve things. So she says, "Are we alone now? I can't find the way out." Sorry, let me sing that back. "Are we alone now? I can't find the way out. I keep waking in the same fever dream. A cure for desire. We're playing with fire." Okay, so as always, Amy sounds great. She sounds fantastic, truly. But this is a pretty basic melody, like relatively unspectacular. And these first two lines, "Are we alone now? I can't find the way out. I keep waking in the same fever dream." That's kind of, those are pretty standard lines. There's not really too much to take away from them. We already sort of established that like she's feeling broken or lost from the first chorus at the beginning. So this is kind of saying, all right, she feels trapped. Cool. But then the next line is the one where I was like, okay, now we might be getting somewhere. Like, because we still have questions. Like at this point in the song, we only have questions. So now we get to this part, "A cure for desire." And that's a very interesting line. And again, we don't know quite what it means, but it's like, is she looking for a cure for her desires? Like, is she looking, does she want to cure her desires? Or is trying to cure the desire part of her fever? Like, I'm waking in the same fever dream because I'm trying to cure my desires. There's ways that you could interpret this line. Maybe the fever dream is the cure, like something's trying to cure her desire. I don't know. We will find out as we get further into the song. But yeah, then she says, "We're playing with fire," which right off the bat, like rhyming desire with fire is like almost, it's just like a lyrical no-no. Like, don't fucking do that. It's super, that's like amateur hour. That's like super amateur hour. I was kind of disappointed when I was going through these lyrics. Like, that's just lame. Don't mean to shit on Amy, but like, come on, you can do better than that. And also the line "we're playing with fire" is very bland on its own anyway. It's just sort of this like, I don't know. It's just kind of this standard line that can mean anything. It's just a throwaway. That's the word I'm looking for. It's a throwaway line. Last little thing to note on this section though is, and this is what I mean when I say like, when I talk about shit being cheap and the song being cheap, this is the type of stuff I'm talking about. Listen to when she says, "we're playing with fire," listen to the way that her voice actually like, it sounds like the compressor like over compressed this syllable, and like she didn't do a good job with the take, but they just used that take. Maybe it was the best one they had. And but she breathed out on the weird, like wheer, kind of like Stewie with the whipped cream. But yeah, it's like, "we're playing with fire." And it's like the compressor glitches or like freaks out for a second. Listen to it. Right here. You hear how aggressive that sounds and how like, and it's not really a line that should be aggressive, by the way. Like this should feel kind of smooth, and it's not supposed to be like, "we're," like you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't say that like, "we're playing with fire." It's like, but to me, the point I'm getting at is that this is like an example of like cheap production. So listen to it again. And I know it's nitpicky, but it's important because this song is good. From the production end, this song is like death by a thousand cuts. Let's listen to it one more time. Yeah, we're playing with fire. It's like, y'all, come on, y'all. Yeah. So unfortunately, those are the verse lyrics. And to me, they're super basic, like super basic, really low tier, honestly. Low tier lyrics, low tier music. Not a very impressive section. So at this stage in the song, we had a chorus we started with a chorus. It was pretty solid, set us up like, okay, what have you done to me? You drained the life out of me. It's like, all right, there's a conflict here. Something's doing something to her. But she's losing her faith in reality and she doesn't know who to follow. It's like, okay, I don't know what that quite means yet. And unfortunately, I don't think that this verse quite clears it up. It just leads to more questions, like the cure for a desire. And yeah, we're playing with fire. I mean, if anything, the idea that like, oh, we're playing with fire. She uses, like, she says, "Are we alone now?" And then she says, "we're playing with fire." It's like, that's, to me, that conflicts a little bit with that first line of like, "what have you done to me?" Because we're no longer talking about a relationship, clearly. And so, but then even then, my initial interpretation of it being about like losing your religion essentially doesn't quite even seem to make sense. This is like weird unity schlop. Like come on, guys, we're playing with fire. Oh, like now I get the sense that she's talking about, well, typically when you say we're playing with fire in this type of context, it's like a broader statement about humanity. But we'll see. Anyway, this verse didn't really do much, and it's pretty low tier lyricism in general, like desire, fire, like, yeah, okay. And the music, not very impressive either. Very bland, very disappointing music. So yeah, not too much else to say. A little bit of a disappointing verse. So let's get into the pre-chorus. All right, so right off the bat, the real drums come in, but again, whereas in prior releases, the electronic drums were mixed a certain way to actually have that electronic sound. And so that way the change to the real drums actually had a lot of impact. because of the way that they mix the electronic drums in this song, I don't think that the real drums coming in actually has much of an impact. Here you can hear that for yourself. Let's play it. So you got those electronic drums and then real drums. There definitely is a change. I'm not saying that it doesn't change or that there isn't an increase in intensity, but it's just not quite as like dynamically interesting as it could be if it was mixed properly. And actually a good example of this is another nostalgia band, Emptiness Machine. There's the electronic drums. Now that does sound like a real drum set, just filtered, but still the idea of like the drums coming in should be intense and heavy. But anyway, I digress. I was just somewhat underwhelmed by those drums coming in. Anyway, the bass guitar actually comes in as well, but again, this is like, I'm the problems layer, and so I repeat myself a lot, but I mentioned in the prior section that there's a lot of low end frequency in that verse already. The problem with that is that when the bass guitar actually comes in, the song doesn't get any fuller. So listen to the bass, the woo 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 woo, and then understand that the bass guitar comes in. You can hear the rattle of the bass guitar, but it doesn't really add much of an impact. Right here, whole lot of bass notes. It's like slight increase, and you can hear the bass guitar rattling, but you can't really, it doesn't elevate the song as much as it could if they didn't have all of that bubbly, mid-rangey synths happening in the verse. Yeah, and then they do add an additional synth melody. It's like a listen. Which again, it's a fine synth melody, but it's just unremarkable. It's really more of like a background layer than something to actually like catch your ear and that you would pay attention to. Again, I would take the piano or the strings that they had on Fallen any day over a synth like that. And that's pretty much it, you know, for the musical end. They cut out at the very end of the section. Yeah, and they do another volume swell there, like a synthesized volume swell. So musically, it's doing the normal thing. We're like, okay, we're going to elevate above the verse. It's fine. But I just think that some of the decisions they made in the verse hinder, the production decisions they made hinder this build and intensity that could have happened in this pre-chorus. Yeah, so let's talk about the lyrics of this pre-chorus now. And I think this is going to be a good spot to talk about what this song is actually about, because yeah. Actually, no, we'll hold off, but let's just talk about this pre-chorus real quick. So Amy sounds pretty good here. Like her vocal performance is great, actually. Yeah, she always sounds great. She's a great singer. So the lyrics are, we're drawn to the light, we're broken and blinded by it, we're dying for release. If all this fear was born in my mind, I gave you everything you'll ever be. Okay, so the thing with this, in my mind, I was like, actually, this was the part of the song where I was like, what is she talking about? Like when I was going through these lyrics and I was like trying to decipher the theme, I was like, what does this mean? Because she's saying we're drawn to light, we're broken and blinded by it. Now remember, my interpretation of this song at this stage was that this was maybe like, like a song about losing your faith, like losing faith in God. Like not necessarily, doesn't even have to be like anti-religion, but just in general, like this idea that she says it like when your faith in, when you lose your, what's the line? When all your faith in reality fades away, who will you follow then? I was like, okay, that doesn't seem like relationship lyrics. So I was like, what is she talking about here? And so these lines, again, we're drawn to light. That's like, all right, that's God is the light, God is the way, right? So I'm like, okay, maybe that's what she's talking about. Then she says, we're broken and blinded by it. We're dying for release. I was like, okay, if this song is like about losing your faith, losing your religion somewhat, it's like, she's like, it's pretty anti-religion. Like it's kind of going there. Like the idea that religion is breaking us and blinding us and we're dying for a release from its grasp. I was like, I was sort of surprised by this. Like, where's she going with this? And then like, if all this fear was born in my mind, I gave you everything you'll ever be. And again, that almost feels like a relationship line again. So at this point, I genuinely, I was just confused. I was like, I don't understand. I don't know what she's talking about. It doesn't feel like it's a relationship song, but I think my interpretation is wrong. It doesn't feel like an anti-religion song. So I went and looked it up. And, you know, I should have had the quote ready to go, but I will get it here for you now. Yeah, so I went and looked it up, and luckily there is a quote talking about what this song is. So here's the quote. Speaking about this song's conception, Lee says, "It's about the quest for what is real. For me, a lot of the album is the quest for humanity and being able to connect on what is real amidst a flood of lies being shoved in our face. Somebody else is literally profiting off you believing a lie. It's just wild out there. I want us to find each other in reality, dark as it may be, because you can't fix it until you face it." Okay. So when she says that, like when I read that, I was kind of like, what the hell? I know this might be a little bit of a reductive way for me to put it, but she's talking about fake news. Someone is profiting off you believing a lie. It's like she's talking about like fake news and like socio-political issues. And I just was kind of taken aback by it. I was like, what are we talking about? Like propaganda? This song's about propaganda? So just to clarify, when she says like, when all your faith in reality fades away, who will you follow? She's saying like, I don't even think that I am being like egregious here with this interpretation. She is essentially saying when everyone on the internet lies to you, who are you going to follow on Twitter? Like, I mean, am I being crazy here? But like that, like, what else could that mean? When she says herself, like, a flood of lies being shoved in our face. Someone is profiting off of you believing a lie. She's talking about fucking fake news and the powers that be, the media that controls shit. And when you look at the song through that lens, like, we're drawn to light, we're broken and blinded by it, we're dying for release. It's like, she's talking about like the light of your cell phone. Like, it's just like cell phone addiction. But, and if you think I'm wrong, what other light is she talking about when she says we're drawn to light, we're broken and blinded by it, dying for release? What other light could she be talking? She's not talking about God. She's not talking about like some amazing relationship or something. She's talking about propaganda and fake news. What other light could it be other than cell phones, TVs? And I just think that that's like, I don't know. It just feels so shallow. And when I read that quote and I started reframing the song from this perspective, I was like, man, that is some whack shit. That is some whack shit. And think about how dramatic, what have you done to me? like I just imagine her like looking at her phone, looking at Twitter. What have you done to me? It's so like, I don't know. It's so shallow, and it feels like it's there. She's like totally over dramatized this whole thing. Like, if we're talking about, where's my damn notes? Sorry, I lost it. It's like, if we're talking about a song about propaganda and like people lying and spreading propaganda, the idea of like, what have you done to me? It just feels so, I don't know. I'm going to talk about it once we finish the lyrics in a little bit more detail, but this felt so lame. And like this whole, like the last line here before the chorus where she says, I gave you everything you'll ever be. If all this fear was born in my mind, I gave you everything you'll ever be. It's like, you're talking about like a grand narrative about like you're observing the nature of our civilization and like where we're at, and like we give the power to the people that lie to us and all that. It's like, why then would you phrase it like you're talking about your fucking boyfriend? Like, I gave you everything you'll ever be. Like, it just does not. Like, again, I just imagine her like screaming at her phone, like, I'm not gonna let you gaslight me anymore. My phone's over there. I don't have it, but like, you pretend like, I'm not gonna let you lie to me anymore. Look what you've done to me. It just feels so like shallow. And again, and this is one of those things with the music too, where it's like, it feels cheap. It feels cheap. This is like super bland lyricism. Like, isn't it crazy how the media lies to us, man? We got to write about it. And like, I don't know, man. Again, I'm going to talk about it once we finish up with all the lyrics. But when I realized this and I started piecing the song together from this perspective, I was like, this is so lame. It is so lame. And the truth is, the funny thing is like, the song can't even really be interpreted any other way. And I kind of broke that down. Like, it's definitely not a relationship song. I mean, you can interpret certain lines as a relationship song, but it's not really. It's not a relationship song. It doesn't make sense. And then it's not like a religious song either. It doesn't make sense with the religion. And so it's like, this kind of is the only way that the song can be interpreted, which I think is weird. And I think it creates a disconnect with the listener, or at least anyone who would want to learn the lyrics and like sing along with it. It's like, how do you sing along with this? It's such a weird. Let me put it this way. If you go back and you listen to Fallen and you listen to Evanescence or Amy Lee's lyrics on that album, right? All the songs felt larger than life. Like, it felt like she was talking about really deep ideas of like life and death, your soul, your love, you know, the people who inspire you. Like you think about like My Immortal being about the ones that you love potentially losing a loved one. I think it is actually just about losing a loved one. But then you have Bring Me to Life, which is the idea that you love someone so much that they almost wake you out of this like 1,000 year coma. You know, I think, what does she say? You know, wake me up inside. Bid my blood to run. What a great line, by the way. Bid my blood to run. Like, basically saying like, your love is causing my blood to flow through my veins again. What an amazing line. And there's so much like impact to that line. And so all of those songs from that album, they just felt so deep and meaningful, and like they actually had real life implications to them. And then you get to this song and it's like, it's just fucking boomer shit as far as I'm concerned. Like, these kids today are addicted to their phones. We've got to stop it. You know, who are you going to follow when the fake news gets to you, huh? It's just stupid. And so, yeah, I like, tonally, I think that this song, it's just confusing, and weird, subpar, very earthly, like very like, again, I brought up Fallen being like larger than life, broad topics, deep topics. And then this song is just like it just feels so earthly to me, and so shallow. Like, yeah, we've heard this, the media lies. Oh my God, another one of anyway. So at this point in the song, it's really kind of losing me. But hey, you know, we're only about a third of the way through. No, we're a fourth. Sorry, hold on. What's the timestamps? Yeah, we're about a fourth of the way through. So there is still plenty of song left to go. So let's play it out. Let's see what we've got.
If all this fear was born in my mind, I gave you everything
Thing you'll ever be.
What have you done to me? You trained my life out of me till I don't know myself. When all your faith in reality fades away, who will you follow?
All right, so we get that chorus. It's lyrically the same as the intro chorus. And I'm just going to make this note now. All of the choruses are the same. There's no lyrical changes, and there's 4 of them. We start with a chorus. We have 2 choruses in the middle of the song, and then we end the chorus. So that's technically the second chorus. Oh, hold on. Yeah, I think the piano is the exact same as the intro.
To me, you trained the life out of me. You trained my life
It might just be enhanced a little bit to stick out amongst the full band, but yeah, it's the same piano. The guitar is just following the piano with open chords.
till I don't know myself. When all your faith
So nothing really interesting to note on the guitar. And yeah, the drums, same, just pretty normal drum part. Kind of just following the boom, 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 boom. Yeah, it does sound good. I mean, again, Amy Lee is a fantastic singer, and this chorus sounds, it's a good sounding chorus. I don't have any complaints necessarily about the sound. It's just that, like, we have already heard it. And unfortunately, it doesn't change for the rest of the song. So I think by the end of the song, I was sort of burnt out by it. Because I don't think it's like an exceptional chorus either. Like, I think it sounds good. Amy Lee always sounds good, but overall, the chorus doesn't come off as like this mind-boggling, like, tear-jerker, you know? Like, it's hard to really connect with it on an emotional level. And yeah, the vocal melody is the exact same, just sung with a little bit more intensity to match the band. And really the only change is at the very end when she adds in some harmonies, or halfway through she adds some harmonies. Let's listen. But you know, it's funny, like, you can't even hear them. Like, it's so hard to even hear the damn harmonies because of how, again, the production is just so, like, this is that stupid modern metal overload on the production. You can't hear the harmonies barely because everything is so, like, because that's better, right? It's better. Just for reference, because you hear her harmonies there, right? Let's just go and listen to some harmonies in another song. You hear those harmonies? Listen to that. Wake me up inside. Wake me up inside. You hear how like apparent they are and how much they add, so that when they're taken away and she sings that, like, call my name, and like it sticks out so much. Listen again. Bid my blood to run before I come undone. Such good harmonies too. So good. And like there is a full band playing here, by the way. Like, there is a full electric guitars and both speakers, drums, everything. But do you hear how easy it is to hear those low harmonies? Bid my blood to run before I come undone. It like, you don't need to just blast the shit out of everything to get something that sounds good. So again, just for reference, now listen to the harmonies on Who Will You Follow?
What have you done to me? Know myself. When all your faith in
You hear how you can hear it for like a split second and they just get completely lost in the mix? Sorry. They're gone. Can't even hear them. And now you can hear them. Can barely hear them when she's doing the chorus, when she's saying, "Who will you follow?" And you can hear him there on that long note, but that's because it's an elongated note over the riff. So there's actual like small pauses where they can poke through. So yeah, like again, I keep harping on the production here, but like this is not. I don't understand why this is the route that we've taken with metal production, is to just like overload everything as if it's better. You can't hear the work that she's doing. And you're not going to convince me that this is a better mix than Bring Me to Life. It's not. Bring Me to Life sounds so much better. And it was made 23 years ago. And somehow we think, oh, well, the technology's come so far. It's so much better. No, it's fucking not. No, it's not. It's not better. Like you need to go back and do the things that you were doing back then, because it matched her voice more. All of the parts were more easily heard. There was so much more room to breathe and to like actually, get enveloped in the song. Instead, modern metal production is just like a brick wall just slamming into you and then like telling you that you like it and like, this is better. You like this wall of sound. It's like, no, I don't. I don't like it. I can't hear her. Like, I can't hear the shit. Let it breathe. Let me breathe. It just pisses me off. Sorry, it pisses me off, because then everyone, like, this was my problem with End of You. To me, End of You was like the most overhyped, overproduced like song I've ever heard in my life. And it is like laser beams and all the three girls like superheroes. It's like, you know what it is? It's like fucking Marvel CGI. I'm going to talk about it later, but yeah, it's like that. It's, oh, if we can just CGI the shit, it'll look better. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't look better. It looks cheap and stupid. All right. Speaking of cheap and stupid, this riff is exactly the same. They didn't change it. All right, so we get into the second verse, and I'm just going to talk about the changes to the musical elements right now. I'm going to let it play. Let's play it.
I feel the changes, a crack in the matrix, break through the lies like an axe through the screen. You can't stop the silence. We are the fire.
All right, so the first main thing is that the drums, the real drums, are in this second verse as opposed to the first verse where it was the fake drums. It doesn't necessarily add or take away too much from it, but I always prefer hearing the real drums on a song like this, because at least it gives a little more oomph. But the main thing is that there's also like a filtered guitar playing, and it's kind of like a simplified version of the main riff. It's probably, no, not quite, but it's like maybe the second best guitar part on this song. So yeah, listen for that guitar part. Like, yeah, so it's pretty cool, but it is just basically doing a simplified version of the main riff. Those two elements do actually make it more interesting, and that is something that Evanescence used to do back in the day. That type of like filtering the guitars and messing with the mix of it, left, right, all that shit. They did a good job with that. So it's like, this is all cool. Like those are good things to add to this verse. That's really about it. So then we can get into the verse lyrics now. Whoa. All right. So she says, yeah, so the lyrics here are, I feel the changes, a crack in the matrix, break through the lies like an axe through the screen. You can't stop desire. And then there's like a little echoed voice saying like, desire, like repeats the line. And then we are the fire. Yeah. So first off, I feel the changes, a crack in the matrix. This is like weak as shit. This is super fucking weak. Yeah, again, we're making a Matrix reference on like a song that's supposed to be like super deep and philosophical, apparently. I don't know. The song is Red Pill. That's why the cover is red. All the shit's red. Yeah, no, it's just silly. I don't know. Fine, you've got your Matrix movie reference in there. Again, Matrix was based on like a real idea, a real concept, and like it created something new. And now, like, she's letting the idea of the Matrix do the work for her instead of describing the scenario herself. It's just cheap. I don't know. It's just lazy. Then she says, break through the lies like an axe through the screen. So the thing that gets me about this line, which I just find funny, is that the way that she's framing this song, because remember, this song is about fake news and propaganda, the people who are lying to you and feeding you false information to profit off of your ignorance. The way that she's framing it, this isn't even a simile. Like, this is literal. She might as well be saying, like, break your phone, throw away your phone, or like stop listening to your phone. Break through the lies like an axe through the screen. I know it's like the axe through the screen is like hitting a TV or whatever, but like, she is talking about screens. She is like, when she says we're drawn to the light, she's talking about the light of our phone screens. It's just, so again, this isn't like a deeper metaphor for something, right? Like, she can't even say like, oh, pull back the curtain, the Wizard of Oz curtain or something. Like, that would be a metaphor. The curtain of Oz is pulled back or something. Like that would be a proper metaphor. This isn't even like metaphorical. She is just literally talking about screens in this song and like our addiction to them and how they lie to us. It's just stupid. I don't know. It just comes off as so, like, there's nothing to really dive into. There's nothing to talk about. And that's kind of the problem that I ran into whenever I was looking through these lyrics. And this is why I had to look up the quote from her, because I was like, what is she talking about here? And then it's like, yeah, it's just screens, literally. So she's just telling us, yeah, like, break your screen or break through the lies as if you're throwing your phone away or whatever. Stop listening to your phone. All right. Thank you, Amy Lee. Thank you. That will definitely solve it. Yeah. And then she says, you can't stop desire. We are the fire. Again, like, what does this mean? You can't stop desire. Because to me, when you reference the Matrix and then you say you can't stop desire, like the Matrix, you know what? I'm gonna hold off. I'm gonna talk about that in just a second. And then we are the fire. That sucks. That's just like regular, like, schlop. And again, to rhyme desire and fire twice in the damn song, that is just terrible. Let's jump into the pre-chorus. I'm skipping through these lyrics right now because I just want to I want to talk about them holistically. In fact, let's talk about the lyrics of the pre-chorus. Let's just do it. Let's talk about all the lyrics now. So she says in the pre-chorus, wake up to the madness, the rats in the wall are already coming through. Lift this twisted veil from our eyes forever and ever. Here, let me play it. She sounds good. Good performance. All right, so I kind of blitzed through all that. I'll talk about the music in a bit, but I want to talk about verse 2 and the pre-chorus too, just to get through it. So I just went through verse 2, but just to summarize, she's talking about like a crack in the Matrix. That's a super lame line. Like, great, you have a Matrix reference. Break through the lies like an axe through the screen it's not even a metaphor, or it's not a simile, because she would say like an axe, that makes it a simile, but like, there's nothing to think about. She's almost literally talking about screens on this song. This song is about fake news and propaganda. Then she says, you can't stop desire, which is sort of a weird line. And I'm going to talk about that in a second. And then we are the fire, which sucks. That's a terrible line. So then she says, wake up to the madness, which again, she said, wake up to the madness. The rats in the wall are already coming through. Lift this twisted veil from our eyes forever and ever. And that's it. So the reason I wanted to summarize all of this is because that's the end of all of the new lyrics for this song. There are no new lyrics in this song, and we are 2 minutes and 20 seconds in on a 4-minute song, 3 minutes, 55 seconds. So we're only about halfway, a little over halfway through the song, and we're done with all the lyrics. There are no bridge lyrics here, which is terrible. It is so lame. And look, I'm just going to talk holistically about the lyrics now. Like these lyrics are just a mess. They're just a mess. If this song is like, I feel like they wanted this song to be a serious, or no, they didn't. They didn't want to do any actual thinking on this song. If they wanted this song to be a serious examination of things like fake news and propaganda, they would have a like deeper lyrics, deeper themes and ideas. They'd have a bridge that addresses it and does things, but they don't. Instead, they let this pre-chorus kind of do the work of the bridge. That's why, like, think about it, right? We've got this conflict of like, we're all stuck in the matrix and we can't get out and we need to learn to break out, right? So but they don't have a bridge. So the bridge is usually like the thing that reframes the nature of a song, but they don't do that here. So in the pre-chorus, they have to do it with the second pre-chorus because it's the last time we hear new lyrics. So she says, wake up to the madness. Just wake up, guys. Just stop getting lied to. Just wake up to the lies, man. The rats in the wall are already coming through. Weird fucking metaphor, but whatever. The rats are showing themselves the liars. We're exposing the liars, guys. And then lift this twisted veil from our eyes. Okay. Forever and ever. She did it, guys. It's solved. Reality. We see it all now. Because she told us to lift she said, lift the twisted veil from our eyes forever. What are we doing? What are we doing? Super lame. And that's it. Like that's like what the bridge should have been. And that's the like conflict resolution essentially. So we build this conflict up of like, we're being lied to, we're drawn to the light, but we're broken and blinded by it, dying for release. You know, what have you done to me? You drained my life out of me, all of this shit. But then, oh, I feel the change. We're breaking through the matrix. We're breaking through the screens, guys. We're waking up to the madness. We're fixing it, dude. The rats are showing themselves. And we did it forever and ever. It's super lame. All right, I'm done being snarky. It's really lame. It's extremely shallow. It's just lame. So let's get into more details. So first off, the song title, the fact that it's like almost literally implying Twitter followers. Like when she says, who will you follow? The implication is quite literally, who are you going to follow on Twitter? Who are you going to follow on social media when all the people you follow are lying to you and you're just following like propagandists? It's like, that is so stupid. That is so lame. And then the fact that she uses kind of like relationship boyfriend analogous lyrics, like, what have you done to me? Like, again, here's your cell phone. What have you done to me? You drained the life out of me. It seems stupid, right? It seems really lame and dumb. Ultimately, it's tonally confusing and it's just out of place. It doesn't make sense. So the chorus already is just weird. Then the verses are the same. They're weak. They're weak as shit. First off, again, I said this before, but rhyming desire and fire is like, it's like lyrical taboo at this point. It is so basic. It's amateur hour. I almost wonder if she's the one who wrote these lyrics. This makes me think that it was one of these producers, because I don't really like these guys. What is his name? Zach Cervini and what the hell? Zach Cervini and Jordan Fish. I don't really like their style of production anyway, so I wonder if this is them. But yeah, just like in general, like saying things like "we are the fire," like that's like, when I say amateur hour, I seriously mean that is like young adult novel schlop. That's like the shit that you'd hear in like Hunger Games or like Divergent or some shit. Like, we are the fire. We are the ones. We will raise our flag up and stop the evil, hocus pocus, wombo bombo corporation, whatever. It's just stupid. And then on top of that, we've got a Matrix reference in there, which is just like, hey guys, I really want to talk about like fake news and the lies of the media and stuff. I'm trying to figure out a good way to portray it though. Well, yeah, it's like the Matrix, man. We're in the Matrix. Yeah, let's just throw that in there. People know the Matrix, right? It's like you can't explain it. You can't talk about it with enough depth using your own words. You have to actually just throw a Matrix reference in there. It's like me writing a song about space, and then instead of like about me going up into space, and instead of me describing my own emotions about it or like how I feel about it or like the beauty of the stars or the planet, like looking back on Earth, I say like, I fly up into space. It's like 2001 A Space Odyssey. Okay. All right. Fine. So look, I don't know. Even if you ignore, even if you think that I'm being like overly critical with my analysis of what the song's about, like, oh, I think it's just about like fake news and cell phone addiction. If you're of the opinion, no, it's deeper than that, man. To me, the topic still isn't that compelling. Like, if you just take all of that out, think about it. The idea that when someone or something is lying to you, who are you going to follow then? What a lame thing to do. Let's even go with my original interpretation, what I thought this song was about, which didn't make sense to me, but I still was like, okay, this is the only thing I think it could be, was losing your faith, right? You don't lose your faith and then immediately think, like, you don't think, wow, like my faith in reality is gone. I no longer believe in God. Who am I going to follow now? You don't do that. When you realize that you're in like a narcissistic, abusive relationship, you don't think, man, this person's been lying to me this whole time. This person that I believed in or like followed or whatever has been lying to me. Well, who am I going to follow now? You think, oh my God, I got to learn to stand on myself. Like I got to learn to stand by myself, stand on my own and like be independent and be, strong-willed and like see these things for what it is. You don't think, well, who do I follow? Like that's sheep mentality. It's literally sheep mentality. That's what this song is. So it's like you could even take away everything I've said about it being about like, oh, it's about your cell phones and shit and just screens and all that. And you could make it about something else and it still doesn't make sense. It's still a lame song topic. And then honestly, like to just like the final cap on this is that the song doesn't even have like a decent conclusion. The conflict is given. And what drives me nuts is like the beginning of the song is so compelling. It's like, what have you done to me? It's like, okay, there's so much you could do with that. So much you could do with that. And then for it to be about something so lame, and then she doesn't even conclude it properly. She literally just says, lift the veil from our eyes forever. Fucking how, Amy? Fucking how? Explain, please. Do we just log off Twitter? Do we stop watching TV and throw our phones away? Because it's not going to work. We're not going to do that. It's like literally the song is just saying, man, fake news sure is bad. Yeah, man. We shouldn't fall for it. Lift the veil from your eyes, dude. Heck yeah, dude. We did it. Let's have a party. That's it. That's the song. Literally, that's the song. She gives no way to break out of it. She doesn't even really do a good job of explaining the fucking problem and specifically what the problem is. She doesn't explain how to get out of it. There's no resolution, nothing. And now you can see it on my new patented fucking song progress chart here. We're halfway through the song. There's no more new lyrics. The conclusion is there. What the fuck is the point of listening to the rest of the song? What are we even doing? And it's kind of why I wanted to talk about the song, because I was like, this is ridiculous. What an unbelievably shallow song from a lyrical perspective. How disappointing. How disappointing. This is like watching a movie. This is like watching Star Wars and it's bad. And then they blow up the Death Star in the middle of the movie and celebrate their victory against the Empire. And then you're just like, well, what's the rest of the movie about? Oh, nothing. There's no more conflict. There's just whatever. All right. So yeah, suffice it to say, I don't like the lyrics of this song. Yeah. Unbelievable. It's actually impressive. Like some of the worst lyrics I think I've ever seen. Genuinely. Terrible, terrible lyrics. I did Fix Your Face by Machine Gun Kelly and Fred Durst last week. The lyrics on that, and I was very critical of MGK's verses. His verses are better. His verses are better. The lyrics on that song are better. This is so lame. Amateur hour. All right, let's keep going. Actually, we're just going to skip the next part because it's just another chorus, and who cares? Like, it's the same thing. So we're going to skip this chorus, and we're going to go straight to the next breakdown. All right, let's listen to this breakdown. All right, I'm gonna stop it there. I'm gonna have a sip of water because I'm about to go off. All right, so I'm gonna say this. I fucking hate this style of metal production. I hate this shit. I don't like it. Listen to this. I fucking hate that type of shit. It is cheap, it is shallow, and it's essentially reliant on cliches and like fucking musical bazingos and bingos and gotchas. It's so stupid. And this song is such a shining example of the problems with it. It's like so chock full of cheap shit, cheap production, cheap sound effects, cheap samples. It's like overwhelming, and it's like that by design. And I want to point this out to people. It is shitty by design to just overwhelm you. It's like bad CG in a fucking, or CGI in a Marvel movie. That's what it is. It's essentially like when you go and watch one of these newer Marvel movies and the CGI is just like, and it looks like shit and it doesn't even look real. It's like goopy and weird. Like. That's what it is. They're throwing money at the problem, and they're like, if we can just throw in every little noise and all the little fucking things and all this shit and overwhelm the listener, you won't think about the actual composition itself. And don't come at me before, and I'm going to prelude this right now before someone jumps in the comments and say, well, old Evanescence used to have sound effects and stuff too. They were always tasteful about it. It was used very sparingly as a means of like accentuating a conflict or accentuating a theme. So when she says like, I'm going to break down, and then and it would be for a split second, and then we get back into the verse or something, you know? And it's like, they were always tasteful with it. Whereas a song like this, they just fucking throw that shit everywhere. Synths on the whole song, noises and sounds, even the beginning of the song. And I pointed this out earlier for a reason. The beginning of the song, you can't even just let her start singing with the piano. You have to have a little effect. Listen, this is the very beginning of the song. Listen to it. You still got to do, because you can't just have the piano start, right? Like that'd be too crazy. You got to go, because you got to smooth it over. So, hold on. Let me find that spot again. Where the hell was it? Yeah, 240. Okay, so yeah, this type of shit though, I mean, just so I can properly portray it to y'all, we have like the swell at the beginning, which I just played. We have all this unnecessary, all the unnecessary synths and electronic drums and random noises in the verses, which are like, they're like mind numbing. They like smooth your brain over because they're just like, we have little glitches and or little issues actually, like the terrible compression on the line, we were playing with fire. And go back and listen to it. I played it earlier in the stream, but it's like, we're playing with fire. And then you even have like swells before each of the choruses, all the filtered guitars in the second verse. And then you just have this whack ass fucking bridge. And I'm sorry, like this detune that you hear right here, that is fucking embarrassing. It's fucking embarrassing. That is so cheap. And when I say cheap, I don't mean like, oh, they didn't spend enough money on it. I mean that the sound effect is cheap. That was cool on a song 20 years ago. That is so fucking cheap. It's embarrassing. Unfucking real. So yeah, this is like again, this type of production, it's just a fucking mess. And it's like their idea of like, we got to fix this song, we got to like give it better production or higher levels of production, is to go through every single second of the song and make sure it's all smoothed over. There's no rough edges. There's nothing weird or out of place. Everything's perfectly in tuned and auto-tuned, and it's all just great and perfect. The irony here is that it's music like this that's like The Matrix. This is the music. So like, let me like explain this to you, right? When you think about The Matrix, the Matrix is like a fake world, a fake thing that is like designed to be perfect and beautiful. It's meant to reflect reality, but it's not real. This song, well, you go back to like Fallen, and even look at the album cover for Fallen. It's like a very close up, like almost an uncomfortable selfie, right? We all know it. It's like iconic, right? But it was real. It felt like real, like someone really put that camera right up in her face, and that's her real face. And it's like, it just had a level of authenticity that was so real that it almost single-handedly inspired the fashion for like goth and emo girls, like a generation of goth and emo girls, like on its own. Like it like spearheaded that fashion trend because of how authentic Amy Lee was, and like that photo shoot and the image that she had on Fallen. Meanwhile, look at this album cover. She looks like a fucking Marvel superhero. And it doesn't even look good. It looks like cheap fucking Photoshop. The red lava, the red smoke, and all this shit. And she's like looking down, like her face is all like polished and shit. Or everything about it is just like picture perfect. It's inauthentic. It's fake. This is the fucking Matrix. This music is the Matrix. There's nothing authentic about it. It's all gone. They have to cover up the inauthenticity with as much glitz and fucking glam and all the sounds and effects as they can, just to convince you that this is as good as the old shit. It's not. It's fucking not. And I already did this, but like, here, let me just show you what I'm talking about. Listen to just a little bit of this song, and I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna let this play. Just listen to the difference that you're about to hear. Do you feel that? Did you feel that when I just switched between those two songs? If you didn't, rewind the video, listen to that again. I'm not going to keep bouncing back and forth between the songs. Just for reference, the second song, Hotel California, is one of the greatest songs ever written. But when you play one to the other, it sounds so boring. It immediately, you feel like it's so boring. And you can say, well, it's metal. No. The mix. Listen to the mix. You have this mix that's, and then you go to this. And it sounds so dry and airy and empty. And yet, that's, again, this is one of the greatest songs ever written. It's like the musical equivalent of eating like a pound of chocolate and then going and eating like a piece of broccoli. It's like the broccoli is like, bleh, bleh, I don't want the broccoli. But the broccoli is what's actually good for you. Or like an apple slice, right? Like apples are delicious, but not after you just ate a piece of chocolate cake. Like chocolate cake is like the most delicious thing you can have. I mean, I'm hyperbole, you know, whatever dessert you think is the best. Imagine just eating like a whole pie and then eating some apple slices. It's like, that's the thing that's good for you, and it doesn't really taste good because you just had the thing this like sugar fucking this ball of sugar is like overwhelming your brain with serotonin. That's what this fucking type of metal does, and that's my problem with it. It's so overwhelming, so like again, like Marvel CGI, laser beams and sounds and effects and that, like, it's just fucking stim TV for your brain, just shooting noises into your brain that you don't even know what's good or bad anymore. And when you listen to something that's good, like Hotel California, I mean, unless you guys are about to get into the comments and tell me that Hotel California isn't one of the best songs ever, then you've got to understand what I'm talking about. It sounds so, the mix, I'm not talking about the composition. I understand that it's a different style, it's not metal, but the mix itself sounds so dry and lifeless, not lifeless, but it's like a sugar crash or like a cleanse. It's like you can breathe in the mix, but when you're addicted to, it's like, it sounds like, this sounds stale and boring to you. And that's the truth. Like, that's what happens. And I've talked with metalheads who think that music like Hotel California is super boring and lame and bland. And I just don't understand it. I don't understand it at all. It's the most crazy, nonsensical thing I've ever heard. So yeah, I mean, I think it really hit me when I heard that little detune noise. And again, it was this stupid sound right here. It's so stupid, so stupid. So yeah, again, like, I just want to clarify and wrap this like whole rant into a bow. Like, this type of music is the Matrix, y'all. This is the Matrix. It's faking reality. It's pretending, it is brainwashing you, overdosing you to think that this is like, oh my God, it's so amazing, right? Meanwhile, the lyrical content is so shallow, it's embarrassing. The music is unmemorable as shit. And they're just using every production technique in the book to try and convince you that it's actually like, oh, it's a really great song and the production's so great. The production is not great. All of the techniques they're using were done on Fallen, and they were done 10,000 times better on Fallen. Go listen to Fallen. Like, it sounds better. There's so much more room to breathe. The lyrics are actually deep and meaningful. This is the Matrix. This music is the fucking Matrix. Break out of it, y'all. Don't fucking fall for it. Tired of this. I hate this style of metal. Get away from it. All right, with all that said, let's play the best part of the song. Shit, I'm out of water. I might have to go grab some water. I apologize in advance. All right, so this breakdown is probably the best part of the song. Simply because it's the only section that actually seems to have had some thought put into it. So first off, the riff is actually in 7/8, which is pretty cool. It's like there's a measure of 3 and then a measure of 4, except for the very end where they add one extra beat. So I would call it like one. I would do like a measure of 3 and then a measure of 4, measure of 3, measure of 4, measure of 3, measure of 4, measure of 3, and then a measure of 5. That's kind of how it's phrased within the riff. And just so I can portray it to y'all, here we go. 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 5 1. See what I mean? It flows a little bit better if you just think of it as like a measure of 5 at the end. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Unfortunately, again, all the lyrics are done. This breakdown doesn't, like most breakdowns, honestly, it doesn't really add much to the song in terms of like the theme and the ideas at play. It's just a breakdown, and breakdowns are cool, but a breakdown's a breakdown is a breakdown is a breakdown. And yeah. The riff is not super interesting beyond the fact that it is a 7/8 riff. It's kind of just following that pattern I just said. Yeah. So it's just, you know, it's a fine riff, whatever. There's also some pretty aggressive synth there because there has to be, because it's a modern metal song. But the synth does sound cool. Like I'm not gonna be a total hater. Like it's a cool sounding section. it's just whatever. I'm sort of blasé on breakdowns in general. If you don't know, I've done videos. Go watch some of my clips on that. Yeah, but yeah, it's just overload. But at least here it makes sense. I mean, breakdowns are supposed to be kind of overload. So then we get into the second bridge. I'm gonna let it play it out. Yeah, so we go back to 4/4 timing, standard timing, and then Amy is just kind of singing these harmonized ahs, which sound really nice. Like, she is a great singer and she's great with harmonies. Yeah, no new lyrics, but yeah, it's a nice sounding section. The guitar is generally following the same idea as the breakdown, but it's just changed to match the 4/4 timing. I think the most interesting part about this section is, I don't know quite what it is, but I think it's a distorted lead guitar. And it's right down the center of the mix. So listen for the center. It's right underneath her vocals. And it's like a zoo, 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 zoo. Listen for that. You hear it? It's kind of tough to hear underneath her vocals because it's hitting similar notes. Right there, it does something. It goes like da-na-na-na. Hear it right there. Da-na-na-na. Yeah, kind of tough to hear, but it is cool. It's a nice little like layer to add in there. Gives it some texture. And overall, like, this section sounds pretty good. Like, again, it's solid, but it's sort of like standalone. Like, it's solid just kind of on its own, and unfortunately doesn't really mean much in the context of the song as a whole. Yeah, I mean, I really think some additional lyrics here, some additional lyrics here would have been great, but we did not get that. So yeah, then we get the soft chorus again, which is, I think the piano part is a little bit simpler than the intro, but it's functionally the intro. Yeah, it's just playing the straight chords. It doesn't have any of the like middle notes. Just for reference here. Hear those extra notes? So yeah, but again, she sounds good, and then the reverb cuts off at the very end of her section here. Yeah, which again, it's fine, but it's yet another instance of like, we got to do some weird production stuff to make it work. But that's a much more common production technique, so I won't necessarily dock them for that, but I'll dock them for everything else. This chorus is the same. Couple more ahs, and then we go back to, is the chorus guitar still playing? Yeah, so the chorus is still, the instruments are still playing the chorus, but then she's doing the ahs that we heard from the soft bridge. And then we go back to the main riff, which is a direct copy and paste from the beginning. Other than the drums switch to that. Yeah, and then the song just ends abruptly. I paused it a little bit before it ended. Here, let's just. Yeah, and that's the end of the song. I didn't pause it. So, yeah, I mean, copy pasted main riff with like a slight change to the drums there for that last measure, and then it ends on a hard cut, which I don't know, kind of par for the course. Whatever. It's a fine, like, when you go back and you listen to some of those old songs, what I think it was Tourniquet, where they ended Tourniquet off of Fallen with like a 2 minute, like a minute and a half long just orchestra. And maybe there will be songs like that on the album. Fine, the album's not out yet, but whatever. They chose the most boring ending. I'll leave it at that. Anyway, yeah, to me, like the overall thoughts, now that we're at the end, I've got my summary that I'm going to give, but before I jump into that, just the general overall thoughts was like, yeah, this song does not care about themes. It doesn't care about coherency or artistry or having any sort of a deeper message about anything. This song is just STEM TV for metalheads. It's just STEM TV. It's, here's all the words and the sounds that you like, right? Evanescence, this is what you like about Evanescence, right? Yeah, it just feels like a bunch of nothing. It's just a bunch of nothing. There's nothing going on. It's empty and shallow. Which is funny. I mean, I talked about it for an hour and a half, but I mainly just talked about how disappointing it was, and there's just nothing there. So let's close it out. Let's close the episode out. So first off, the purpose of this song. This song is like manufactured metal. This is almost singularly focused on the goal for this song was to create a hit single for Amy Lee's modern post End of You era, right? Like a new era for Evanescence after the success of End of You. There is no deeper artistic message here. This is 100% manufactured metal from the guys who produced Poppy and Spirit Box and her other songs and shit. These are like the Max Martins of metal. Yeah, that's it. There is no deeper artistic meaning to this song. The style, I just call it modern metal. I mean, some people would say it's like gent or whatever the fuck. I don't care. It's modern metal. Song structure, pretty standard, but it does open with a soft chorus, which is, common, but still cool. Well, I say that, but then they play, including that intro chorus, they play the fucking chorus 4 times, which you never need to play a chorus 4 times. Unless you have a chorus that's as good as like something like American Pie, where I think they do the chorus like 6 times, but like you be limited on how many times you do the chorus. But the thing is that the chorus for American Pie is like one of the greatest choruses ever written, and them playing it multiple times actually has thematic relevance and meaning within the song. So this song didn't do that. Yeah, and then on top of that, there were some pretty decent bridge sections. Like the breakdown was cool, and the they didn't just have like a bland bridge section. They put some work into the bridges. Yeah, so structurally it's fine. Compositionally, Amy sounds great. Like Amy's vocal melodies are really good on this song. Maybe in the verses a little bland, but like still not too bad. And the pre-choruses I think are probably the highlight. And the chorus she nails. She always nails the choruses. She has a great voice. I think the 7/8 breakdown riff is pretty cool too. It was a really cool riff. Yeah, aside from that though, honestly, most of the other elements are pretty bland. I mean, I think the synths are kind of lame. The electronic drums, bland. The guitar parts are very forgettable, especially that main riff. I think the verse 2 guitar part is okay, but yeah, I say it's okay, but the truth is that it's just very forgettable. Like you're not gonna like no one's listening to this and thinking, oh my God, that's the best guitar riff I've ever heard, bro. It's like, nah, not really. I think also, yeah, a lot of that production, I really bitched about the production a lot, but it is cheap. It sounds cheap. It sounds shallow. It just sounds like, they're just throwing little bazingas at you. They're just trying to don't pay attention to the bad lyrics. Don't pay attention to the shitty guitar riff, Mix wise though, the mix is really the thing that pisses me off the most about these types of songs. I mean, the modern metal mix is the thing that these producers are known for. And honestly, I just think it's hot garbage. I can't stand these types of mixes. The mid-range frequencies are absolutely blasted. So the whole time you're listening to the song, it's just like, woo, it's like a wobble. Shit. Like the mid ranges are just blowing through everything, which makes it hard to hear her harmonies, makes it hard to, you know, identify any specific element to the music. And on top of that, there is no real, I already talked about the composition, essentially everything just sounds mushed together in the mix. The drums are way too loud. The synths are blasting. It's like, and it's kind of the purpose, right? Like it's like laboratory designed to overwhelm your senses and overwhelm you, because that's what they think is going to make you, that it's going to make you think that it's like huge and epic and cool, and it slams like a truck and it's hard hitting. And once you kind of, I think it's just kind of an immature way to look at metal and to look at rock and a rock and metal mix. And to me, it just feels more like Marvel's CGI slop. I'm kind of waiting for people to come around to that, but I don't know. I'll probably be waiting a while. Metal fans are kind of stubborn. So, but yeah, it just sounds like Marvel CGI slop. Lyrical content, super shallow, unbelievably shallow. In fact, like We Are the Fire, I Can't Find a Way Out, Wake Up to the Madness. It's like we've heard all of these lyrics and themes and ideas on much better songs before. On top of that, stupid Matrix reference. And then like, I didn't talk about this, but she says the phrase like, you can't stop desire. And it's like, I'm gonna be honest, that's the type of thing. If you know the Matrix, the character Cypher in that movie is the traitor, and he betrays the people in the real world so that he can have an like everlasting life in the Matrix, where he's rich and successful and has lots of chicks and eats, you know, filet mignon every day. He's the type of character that would tell you to feed into your desires. He's the character that would say like, you can't stop desire. So again, this song has no clue what it's talking about. It's completely lost. It's a total fucking mess, thematically and lyrically. Yeah. Which brings me to the theme, which the theme is, per Amy Lee's own quote, fake news is bad. Yep, people are lying to you, and they're profiting off of lying to you. So you need to stop getting lied to. You need to wake up. Thanks, Amy Lee. Thanks, Zach Cervini. Thank you guys. You really changed my perspective on things. So fucking lame. All right, final verdict then. Artistic merit, final thing. Yeah, the reason why The Matrix was so compelling, and this is like my blurb that I wrote for it. I'm gonna kind of read it out. The reason why The Matrix is so compelling is that it's like a perfect world that feeds into your desires, but it's all fake, right? It's an illusion to keep you mindless and brainless so that the machines can use you as a battery. This song thinks that it is like decrying the Matrix, and it uses the Matrix as an example. It says, look, stop being in the Matrix. But this song is the Matrix. This song is the Matrix. It has all the workings of a great Evanescence song. It pretends to be a great Evanescence song. It's got the chugging guitars, it's got the piano, it's got the dramatic vocals, a couple electronic elements. It's all there, but it's a fucking illusion. It's all an illusion. This song is shallow as hell. The lyrical content there's nothing to it. It's soulless. The production, the guitar riffs all sound like they were formulated in a fucking lab by a team of people to get the exact perfect shit. And they don't even, it's soulless as hell. The riffs sound bland. Every rough edge in this song has been smoothed over, which brings me to my final thing, which is that the song is brainless. Ultimately, it's brainless. It is designed for you to listen to it and to not think about it. It's going to throw all the sounds and the noises and the fucking bullshit at you. And it's going to pretend to be a great Evanescence song. But whether you know it or not, it's not going to resonate. It's not actually going to, like, I think most people are going to feel it. Like, this doesn't fulfill me in the same way that old Evanescence does. This song feels empty and quite frankly lame. There's nothing really here. And if you want me to be honest, I think the streaming numbers actually show it. And I didn't want to bring this up while I was talking about the song, but it's worth bringing up now that at this point, this song only has 3.7 million plays after a month. Now you might say, only? That's crazy. That's a ton. For an artist as big as Evanescence and Amy Lee, after a month, that's not impressive. Like that's not, like, just for reference again, let me pull up Fix Your Face, which came out 2 weeks ago, from Fred Durst and MGK. Hold on. Why won't it let me go to the song? Yeah, so after 2 weeks, not even, like a week and a half, no, I guess 2 weeks, Fix Your Face has 5.2 million views. So Amy Lee's, Who Will You Follow has, 3.7 million after a month. Fix Your Face has 5.4 million after 2 weeks. And you might say, oh, it's not comparable. MGK and Fred Durst are more popular. It's like, I don't know. I don't know if I would say that Evanescence was less popular than Limp Bizkit. I actually think Evanescence was way more popular than Limp Bizkit. Let's see, Bring Me to Life had 1.9 billion. Let's pull up Limp Bizkit, see where they're at. Yeah, Break Stuff has 1.1 billion. So Evanescence is more popular than Limp Bizkit. Now you can say MGK is like an up and coming artist, fine, whatever, but like we give MGK a lot of shit, but like he just blew past Amy Lee and Evanescence. And this song has all of like the biggest the literal biggest producers in metal behind it right now. End of You was the song of the year. Like almost universally, End of You was considered the song of the year for 2025, like metal song of the year. So these are like the main head honchos of metal in right now currently. And the fact that they managed to get 3 mil in a month. It's not good. It's not good. Like it's a commendable amount of streams. Don't get me wrong, but it is definitely below what it should be for an artist, producer, and band like this. And I think it's because the song doesn't connect with people really. I think that, the 3 million is even too high. I think that's just people liking Evanescence and wanting to go and listen to it and check it out. But I don't think that this song resonates with anybody. How can it? It's so empty. And so even if you're a huge Evanescence fan and you stuck through this video and you were listening to me talk right now, and yeah, I love it. You can't sit here and tell me that this song is like a great Evanescence song. It's not. It's just not. So, womp womp. There we go. Woo. Hour 47 minutes. Pretty good. 48 minutes. Yeah, so that's it. We made it through. Again, if you made it through the whole video, I appreciate it. I know these breakdowns are long, but I like doing it. I think they're fun. So be sure to leave a like, follow, subscribe, leave comments. I like talking to people and hearing what people think in the comments. And if you think I'm wrong about anything, let me know. Be respectful. Come on. Like we can have a rational discussion. I'm not always right, but I'm right lots of times. So yeah, anyway, I think that's it. I don't think there's anything else. Yeah, I was, it was kind of weird having this new little song chart thing. It was fun having it though. I did enjoy clicking over to the next section. I think if someone were to like go through the stream and like try to find certain sections, it'll help them find what they're looking for. Like if they want to hear what I have to say about something, going above and beyond for you guys. Don't say I don't do nothing for you. All right, cool. Well, I'll end the episode here. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next week for the next song, whatever it may be. Peace.